Everyone else on the block was celebrating Christmas warm lights, music, laughter. But at the farthest corner of Brookside Lane, in a house so quiet it felt forgotten, a widow whispered an apology to her children, just moments before a stranger's knock changed everything. On Christmas night, the world outside glowed with celebration. Houses shimmered with golden lights, children laughed in the snow, and families gathered around decorated tables. But inside a dull, silent house at the very end of Brookside Lane, Hannah Collins sat on an old couch, holding her two children close. Her son, Ben, 8 years old, tried hard to appear brave, but his trembling hands gave him away. Her daughter, Amy, only 5, buried herself in Hannah's arms, shivering. The small electric heater in the living room had died 2 hours ago. The chilly air seeped through the cracks in the walls, making everything feel colder than outside. A half-empty box of crackers sat on the table, their only dinner. Hannah ran her hand through Amy's hair and forced a smile. "We'll be okay. Mommy will figure things out." But inside, her heart ached. She had been promising that for months. It was their first Christmas without Mark, her husband, a delivery driver who never made it home after a terrible accident last spring. Since then, bills had piled up, repairs were impossible, and every night felt like a fight to keep her children warm-fed and comforted. Amy looked up. "Mommy, did Santa forget our house this year?" Hannah kissed her forehead. "No, sweetheart. Santa is just a little late." Ben stared at the dark window. "It's okay, Mom. You don't have to pretend." His voice cracked, and that hurt Hannah more than anything else. Before she could answer, the living room light flickered once, twice, and shut down completely. The house went black. Amy gasped and clung tighter. Ben swallowed hard and looked at Hannah. And Hannah felt something inside her break. She whispered, "Please, not tonight." But the silence answered back. As the cold deepened, Hannah wrapped her children tighter and whispered silently, "I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard." A single tear slid down her cheek. She thought no one cared, no one knew how badly they were struggling, and no one was coming. She was wrong. Because at that exact moment, someone knocked on the door. A firm, solid knock that didn't sound like danger, but hope. Ben tensed. "Mom? Who's here?" "I don't know," Hannah said, standing slowly and pulling her thin sweater around herself. She wasn't expecting anyone. She barely even talked to neighbors anymore. She approached the door and peeked through the peephole. A tall man stood on the porch, snow lightly covering his shoulders, a duffel bag in one hand, a small box in the other. He looked strong but calm, serious but gentle, familiar but only slightly. She opened the door a few inches. The man nodded. "Mom, I'm Aaron Blake. I moved into the cabin across the street last month." Hannah remembered seeing him only once, unloading furniture from a truck. He kept to himself, always quiet, always focused. Aaron continued softly, "Your lights went out. And, well, I noticed you haven't had decorations or visitors. I just wanted to check if everything's okay." Hannah tried to mask her embarrassment. "We're fine, thank you." But then Amy shivered loudly. Aaron's eyes softened instantly. "May I come in for just a minute?" Hannah hesitated. Life had made her cautious. But something in his tone wasn't threatening. It was warm, safe, like someone who knew what pain was. She stepped aside. "Okay." When he walked in, the coldness of the house hit him immediately. He saw the broken heater, the children huddled under a thin blanket, the empty cracker box. His jaw tightened, not in anger at them, but at the situation. He knelt beside Ben and offered a gentle smile. "Hey, buddy, I'm Aaron. You cold?" Ben nodded quietly. Aaron opened his duffel bag and pulled out 2 thick thermal blankets, wrapping them around the kids. "There, that's better." Then he stood and looked at Hannah. "Your husband, Mark Collins, He served 4 years in the Coast Guard, didn't he? Hannah froze. Yes. How do you know? I recognize the name. There's a memorial wall at the Veterans Center. I read every plaque. He paused. He was a good man. Hannah covered her mouth as her eyes filled. No one besides her had spoken Mark's name in months. Aaron stepped closer. Him, an ex-Navy SEAL, 10 years of service. And if there's one thing we're taught, it's that you don't let a fallen serviceman's family suffer alone. Hannah shook her head. I didn't want to bother anyone. I didn't want to be a burden. He answered firmly, You're not a burden. You're a mother doing her best. Before she could reply, Aaron pulled out his phone. I am calling someone. We're fixing this tonight. He stepped outside briefly, then returned with urgency. A generator is on its way, and a portable heater. And I brought food. He placed the box on the table. Bread, canned soup, pasta, fruit, even cookies. Amy squealed softly. Cookies! Aaron gave her a warm smile. Every kid deserves cookies on Christmas. Within minutes, the heater arrived, brought by Aaron's old military friend who lived nearby. They set it up quickly. The house warmed. The lights came back on when the generator hummed to life. For the first time in months, Hannah felt heat on her skin instead of fear in her chest. When the warmth settled, Aaron removed his jacket and put on an apron, the one hanging uselessly on Hannah's kitchen hook, and began cooking. He worked with steady hands, like someone who had cooked for teammates in worse places than this. He made soup, grilled cheese sandwiches, and warmed the cookies. Ben watched him with awe. Were you always this good at cooking? Aaron chuckled. When you're stuck on a military base with nothing but canned food, you learn fast. Hannah watched from the doorway, tears forming again, but this time from relief. During dinner, Aaron shared quietly, I lost my wife 2 years ago. Since then, Christmas hasn't been the same. That's why I live alone. I didn't want to feel anything. Hannah lowered her head. I know the feeling. He looked at her gently. But helping you tonight made me feel something again, something good. After dinner, he pulled out 2 wrapped gifts. For the kids, he said. Inside, a teddy bear for Amy, a Lego set for Ben. The kids lit up like the Christmas tree they didn't have. Later, when they were asleep, warm, safe, peaceful, Hannah walked Aaron to the door. You didn't have to do all this, she whispered. Aaron looked into her eyes, steady and sincere. Yes, I did. He hesitated, then spoke the words that would change everything. Come with me. Tomorrow morning. I'll take you to the support center for military families, financial aid, child care help, housing repairs. You won't fight this battle alone anymore. Hannah's breath caught. Really? Aaron nodded. I promised myself I'd never walk away from someone who needed help. Not again. Tears spilled freely down Hannah's cheeks as she whispered, Thank you, Aaron. He gave a soft smile. Merry Christmas, Hannah. She smiled back, the first genuine smile she'd felt since losing Mark. Merry Christmas, Aaron. For the first time in a long time, she believed their life could begin again.